Demonology Warlock is one of the most fun specializations there is, and quite frankly, this is because you command, like you can see, an entire army of demons. This is a beginner guide for patch 10.2 of Dragonflight or season 3, and I am gonna give you no information overload, but give you everything you need to know to succeed, giving you the goal of getting up to ahead of the curve in heroic raiding and Keystone Master. First of all, let's look at the stat priority quickly for Demonology Warlocks. This is a pyramid over here, meaning that the biggest bit you want is at the bottom, going up to the least and the tiniest bit at the top. So this is going to go in the order of haste, mastery, crit, and then verse. But as a beginner, don't worry too much about that. Always go for eye level and more intellect over everything else. When you do get into the more intermediate bits, though, this is a bit more detailed. And before we get into the actual rotation of how to play it itself and the talents, etc., first of all, I want to show you some of the core cooldowns, both offensive and defensive, that you have at your disposal. So first up, on the top, we have our more defensive ones, and then down below, we've got offensive. So starting off, we've got Dark Pact. This is going to sacrifice 20% of your current health, but then shield you for 200% of that amount. So this is kind of like almost like a backhanded defensive here, but very useful nonetheless. And then we have Unending Resolve, which quite frankly just reduces the damage taken, which is a very simple defensive. Going on to your offensive cooldowns as a Demonology Warlock, we have the Demonic Tyrant, which I've put here as a big scary demon. Basically, this is going to extend the duration of all your other demons, so you want to use this pretty much on cooldown when you have all of your demons or as many out as possible. Then we have Demonic Strength. This is, like it says, a damage cooldown for your Felguard, and you're going to want to use this in single target and also AoE when there's a lot of units stacked up, because this will do a big old cleave. Now we can look at the utilities you have. Now I will firstly say this is not all of the utilities, but these are the main ones that I personally think are the most important. I will also say that on the curses, I haven't gone into each and every single one because there's a few, but these are things like slows and incapacitation for your target, etc., and interrupts. And I would always just say to look through the spellbook when you're interested, or when you've got a bit more use to the class, and have a look at what you've got at your disposal. But starting off at the top here with a health stone, I think most of us are probably going to know what this is already. It summons a health stone that you and your party can use as almost like a secondary health potion. Same again with soul stone. This is a utility for the party. You can infuse the soul of one person so that when they die, they can actually resurrect immediately where they are, even in combat. So it's not a combat res in itself. It's more of a precautionary measure against the person that you think is going to die so they can actually come back once in the fight. Then we've got the Demonic Gateway. Again, you may have seen these. A warlock will place, say, one here, and then you can teleport between them. And this is really good for encounters where you need to get across the room very quickly, or you need to skip something, etc., in a dungeon or raid. Then we have Burning Rush. This is the Warlock's speed boost. Now, the only thing that's different with this one is whereas most classes have one that is on a cooldown, this actually is toggleable and usable forever. However, it's going to very slowly chip away at your health, and it's going to put these flames behind you like this, so you can always see when it is toggled on. If you suddenly see your health starts going down slowly, you think, hang on, what's happening here? Sometimes it is easy to forget that you have actually left it toggled on. Lastly, I'm just going to show you the talent build here that I am using. You can pretty much use this for M+ and Raid. Again, it is a beginner talent build, and I am going to show you how to do single target and AoE. It's pretty much the same on this spec. There is a import string below, so you can put this straight into your game, and I'm not going to go through every single talent in here, but again, I do advise that after watching this video, or when you're more comfortable playing the specialization, that you just go through the talents and have a look and see how they all kind of work in together to the core rotation. Now, finally, we're going to actually look at the rotation for Demonology Warlocks in 10.2, and of course we are a Demon Warlock, so we're going to be summoning some demons to start with. And this one down here on my action bars, Summon Demon, we're going to want to summon our Imps and also our Felguard. And you can see I've already got my Imps out here, as well as my Felguard, which is attacking this target dummy. Now you will see on my weak aura here, which I have linked below by the way, that we have the number 5 and these little slots. Now this is our secondary Warlock resource, which is soul shards. We're going to have some soul shard builders, which generate them, and then we're going to be spending those soul shards as our main resource spender. So the one that we're going to use as our filler to build these is Shadow Bolt, and that's going to generate 1 soul shard every time we use it. Now you never really want to max it out and get to 5 like we have here, and we have this one at number 1, which is Hand of Gul'dan. That's going to be our main soul shard spender. I would advise that when you get to 3 or more soul shards, you use Hand of Gul'dan to spend those soul shards. Another one you're going to want to use as much as possible is Dreadstalkers here, number 2. This is going to summon some more Dreadstalkers. Now, because we've got a lot of demons out now, we can use our cooldown Summon Demonic Tyrant, because this works best when we have as many demons out as possible. Another thing that we are going to have generated by some of our demons is this ability here, or a passive even, if you will, which is Demonic Core. And when our imps, etc., run out of energy and expend themselves, we're going to generate buffs of that. And you can see here now we've got 2 stacks of it. When you do have 2 stacks or more, we're going to use this spell here, which is Demon Bolt on number 5 on my action bar. And what that buff does is it makes it instant, just like that. Now, if it's not instant, when we don't have those demonic core buffs, you can see here it's got a really long cast time, and we're not going to want to use it when it is like that. We're only going to want to use it when we have 2 stacks or more of this one here, demonic core. So just to recap so far, we're going to want to use Hand of Gul'dan when we have 3 or more soul shards. We're going to want to call our Dreadstalkers on cooldown. When we've got nothing else to do and we need to generate soul shards, we're going to use our Shadow Bolt. We're going to use our Demonic Tyrant when we have loads of demons out as a cooldown. And we're going to want to use our Demon Bolt, perfect timing here, when we have 2 stacks or more of Demonic Core here so that it is instant. And then last but not least, we have Demonic Strength, which we're going to use on cooldown, or in an AoE situation, because this is going to empower our Felguard and give it more like cleave, etc. Well, it cleaves, and then when we empower it with AoE, you want to use it when you have as most targets in front of you. But do also use it in single target. Speaking of AoE, you're pretty much just going to follow that same rotation because some of our attacks already cleave. And like I said, just use the Demonic Strength with better timing when you've got everything clustered up as much as possible. And that is pretty much it for the beginner rotation of Demonology Warlock. I hope this was useful for you guys. Let me know in the comments below if this really helped you out. And don't forget to check out my other class specialization guides. I now have all Warlock guides out and a lot of other classes as well.